Xi Jinping only receives bad news last week. And to top it off, Biden says clearly the attacks on Houthis are not working, but they will continue regardless. How is that bad news to Xi Jinping? Watch the video and you'll find out. Also, on the crypto front, Vanguard, one of the largest managers of assets in the world, managing over $8 trillion of assets, is now dropping their Bitcoin ETF. That's the second company to drop their ETF last week. Also, the DXY, the dollar index, shows point of concern for those who are trading in Bitcoin. These are the things we're going to be covering in today's video. Without any further ado, let's get straight into the video of today. As usual, we're going to begin with Bloomberg, and the main headlines that I want to share with you today is about Vanguard and how Vanguard stopped selling the Bitcoin ETF. Look what happened here. In 2017, the legendary investor Jack Bogle famously warned people to avoid Bitcoin as a plague. However, Vanguard was selling a Bitcoin ETF, not a spot one, but a futures one. What happened is the community on X is starting to boycott Vanguard because the man spoke very ill about Bitcoin, and yet the company is stocking Bitcoin. Now, the response from the company from the X boycott was the following. They yanked their futures-backed Bitcoin funds from their platform. That means right now the company offers no crypto product whatsoever, unlike the other management asset companies that has their ETF. Now, this is, on my view, the second asset management past week that decide not to trade with Bitcoin. Now, to top that off, here on Cointelegraph, we have another article about what's going on with Bitcoin price. Look at this. Bitcoin price recovery is at risk due to the dollar index strength. And of course, the GBTC is selling, so selling pressure. Look at this. Bitcoin is failing to produce the desired price upside that was expected by the market before the ETF approvals, according to this article. So, what is the DXY? The DXY is the dollar index. When it's at 100, that means the US dollar and all the other currencies that make the index are on the same level of strength. Now, when that index goes over 100, that means the US dollar is stronger than the other currencies. And when the index goes below 100, that means the US dollar is weaker. Now, what happened is tensions on the globe are causing the US dollar to go up. We already mentioned about what those tensions are. Now, if the US dollar is going up, that means the Bitcoin price, all else equal, not all the time, but all else equal, it means deflationary pressure for Bitcoin. According to this graph, the dollar index is already at 103. And also, according to the graph, if it breaks above 104.57, the next goal would be 107. Now, as you can see, Biden said very clearly that the attacks on Houthis is not working, but they will continue. And you may ask yourself, how would that affect the dollar index? And how is that bad news to Xi Jinping? I'm going to answer the two questions with one simple answer. And that is the situation on the Middle East. And you can see here the headline saying that the oil market is making plans for the Red Sea chaos to last for weeks. Now that means months, which means the ships are already preparing, as you can see here in this picture, not to go to the Suez Canal. That means going to a big detour. We have talked about this in this channel. But the thing is, how is it that that detour is bad news for Xi Jinping? As you heard Biden saying, the attacks will continue. And the attack continues means all the ships have to go around Africa, increasing the cost of food and the cost of everything else. Now, if the price of things are increasing, that means people would have to save more in order to afford things. That means it's strengthening the dollar, because as prices go up, also means that the central banks would have to increase rates or keep the rates higher for longer, strengthening the US dollar, and we can see that on the DXY. So how is that bad news for Xi Jinping? As you know, the shipping costs are going to increase. If price increases, people are going to use less of those products. Many products, as the price increase, that means less demand for that product. Imagine something like this. If an orange is cheap, it's only 2 cents, a lot of people are going to buy that orange. If each orange becomes $10, less people are going to buy that orange. Likewise, all else equal, when the price of shipping increases, that means the ability of countries to export is going to diminish, because people are only going to buy if they really need something. If the price of shipping goes down to $1,000, more import and export will occur. If the cost of shipping goes up, that means less countries are going to be buying things from China, or China ability to export is going to be diminished because China main market would be in Europe or US, and that means for the European market it has to go around Africa. Now, also Xi Jinping received other bad news. As you know, China has been on a real estate bubble. That means China built a lot of offices, a lot of houses, and there's no people to use those space. Now, besides that, the population is declining. Now, the greatest cause of increased demand of real estate is a population that is growing. If your population is in decline, that means you're going to be building houses and there will be no people to live in those homes. Now, the amount of death in China is already higher than the amount of births, meaning each year more people are dying and less people are being born. And as the population declines, that bubble, or that real estate bubble, is going to become even worse. Now, another bad news for Xi Jinping is the GDP of China, which is now around 5%. Now, remember, China used to have growth about 12, 15, 17%. Sometimes it almost reached 20% growth. Now, the issue is when you have a small economy, which was China in the beginning when it opens doors, that small economy starts to grow very rapidly. When you have a small economy, the growth can be on higher digits because it is a very small economy. Now, as the Chinese economy seems to have reached its limit, if the GDP continues to go down, imagine this: lower GDP, lower exports, lower population to produce or consume your goods. And also the world after the pandemic is going to a deglobalization. What does that mean? It means that countries now are no longer wanting to buy cheaper from further away. They are moving towards buying more expensive, but from someone that we have a friendly relationship with and is more reliable. And that is because on the pandemic, China put zero tolerance on the pandemic, meaning whenever there was a case of COVID, they closed down the entire town, closing ports, and then the world starts to awake to a reality. And examples of that are, for instance, the US trying to produce microchips, and also even Europe trying to produce their own microchips and no longer wanting to have microchips from Taiwan. Now, Xi Jinping is in trouble to get capital into China. We have made videos about this, how the capital is fleeing out of China. And to top that off, we also have the Belt and Road Initiative, which is a massive initiative that China, Xi Jinping started, and they may not be able to finish, and countries are becoming aware of that. If you want to find out more about the Belt and Road Initiative, please subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell. I'm going to be making a video breaking this down to you guys. And with this, I wrap up this video. Now, my question to you is, how is the situation on the Middle East affecting you? How are the shipping costs increasing affecting you in your country? Please let me know that on the comments below. This is it for now. Like, subscribe, click the notification bell, and see you guys in the next video. Kaboom! Goodbye.